What's good, everybody? It is a brand new month. Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. This is your daily sports betting brand of record. We call it the Early Edge. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting. And it's not close. I, of course, am the coach. And boy, am I in a good mood today. Let's take a look at how the entire crew did yesterday. There are a whole bunch of green check marks there. Our new guy, Jamie, 3-0. And it wasn't close other than Desmond Bain. Georgia Tech, I called that one. They won by 20 on the court, getting 9. Soccer looked great yesterday. Buckets hitting Blackburn. Really, really nice. But we're only as good as our last day because you guys remind us about that all the time. But guess what? I want to know how good you are. Today's March, right? That means March Madness. That means brackets. That means we need you guys to play with us. It's all free. Just download the QR code that you see on the screen right now, or you can go to tinyurl.com/earlyedge and enter today. It's free. It's about tournament glory. It's about legacy. It's about all of that. And you guys know on a Wednesday, we feel good. It's the middle of our week. So let's bring in the stars of the show. Today, we are going 5 wide this morning, and we got a lot to get to. So, live from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level. M Squared, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everybody out there. Nice to see a big screen here with all the faces. Can't wait to get to these matchups today. One day closer to one of my favorite golf tournaments of the year as well. Let's get to it.
That's right. The API starts tomorrow, and if you haven't watched the early wedge yet, I encourage you. It's in your feed live right now. We do it every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Now, one of the men who is on that show, he is the counselor of cash, and he has been on fire. However, full transparency, and he owns it. Last night, Indiana was not the pick. Wasn't the pick. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, it certainly was not the pick. It was straight up a bad pick. They got completely outplayed last night, but that happens in college basketball, and I'm going to come back with a college basketball pick tonight, or for tonight, but I will say I've got a pick from the Arnold Palmer Invitational as well. As everybody knows, it starts tomorrow morning, so I want to get this pick out today. Very excited for golf.
Yeah, by the way, last week he hit first-round leader plus 2,000. It was actually plus 6,000, but we split it up 3 ways, and we hit the winner, Chris Kirk. All of that on the early wedge for my man, the counselor. Now, next, yesterday, I called him up on FaceTime, and all I got was this, because he is so happy about Blackburn not only covering the 1.5, but winning on the pitch. Buckets, good morning.
Coach, I'm ecstatic that our pick hit, but I am a coward. For those of you that do not know, I have been on Early Edge for over a year now, and I have never won a showdown. Martin gave me an opportunity for a showdown on the Blackburn money line, and I said no. So that hurts, but still a great day.
It hurt us to watch it, Buckets. It hurt us to watch it. But it's good to see that you've got a new North Face sponsorship going on. So that's really nice. More checks for Buckets. All right, now, when this man is on, look at the face. He's locked in. He's ready to go. He's fired up. He is live from parts unknown. Propstarz, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Speaking of pain, as Buckets was just alluding to, I have to admit I'm feeling a little bit of pain not receiving a FaceTime call from you yesterday, Coach. A little bit left out here. Where's my FaceTime call? Cousin Sia, Mikey, didn't get one from them either. So hopefully I do something spectacular today, and I can talk about my FaceTime call with one of you guys tomorrow.
And we have no doubt that you will do just that. All right, let's get into it, guys. Storylines that could affect the betting lines today. And I tell you all the time, grab your paper, grab your pencil, because the NBA injury report is real and it's important. Mike, start us off.
Yeah, we'll start with the Detroit Pistons. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, Isaiah Livers, all going to miss this game. However, Bojan Bogdanovic and Jaden Ivey both back for them tonight. For the Hornets, playing against Phoenix Suns, where Kevin Durant will be making his Suns debut. LaMelo Ball done for the season. PJ Washington doubtful. Could be a potential blowout here in this game. Miami, Kyle Lowry out. Boston, Jaylen Brown is going to be back in the lineup here. The Milwaukee Bucks, the biggest situation of the day you need to pay attention to if you're betting props, playing DFS, doing whatever you're doing. Chris Middleton, Joe Ingles, both listed doubtful. Giannis, Bobby Portis, Jay Crowder, all listed questionable. They are sizable favorites here in this game. It is possible that they completely rest and do not play. It's also entirely possible that Giannis plays 20 minutes because that's all it takes for them to get the win. So pay attention to Milwaukee this afternoon. For Houston, Jalen Green, doubtful for rest. Kevin Porter, Jayshawn Tate, both listed questionable. For the Lakers, LeBron James, of course, is out. D'Angelo Russell, doubtful, did not play last night, unlikely to play tonight on the second night of a back-to-back. They are playing Oklahoma City, who is also on the second night of a back-to-back. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will not play. And then for the Pelicans, Josh Richardson, he's been playing pretty well for them and significant minutes. He is listed questionable, as is Jonas Valanciunas.
Isn't that amazing? All of that. 9 games on the docket tonight in the association, and all of those guys. It's amazing. Mikey, thank you very much. Now, a big-time elevated event starts tomorrow. You heard Mikey say it's one of his favorite events of the year. It's really shown out that the elevated events so far, the first 3 have been won by big-time stars. John Rahm twice, and how about Scottie Scheffler, who's the defending champion? See you, take it from there.
Yeah, this is more of a reminder more than anything else that golf is here to stay. I mean, this is a full season sport, and we have these elevated events, which are really great. There are great watches, but then the non-elevated events are also not only great watches, but great betting opportunities, great storylines as well. So, like I said, I'm going to have a pick for the Arnold Palmer Invitation, and typically on Wednesdays, I'll probably have a matchup pick to bring, and then Thursdays, maybe a round 1 matchup. But this is really exciting because these are, for those of you that don't know, these are not, 2 or 3 hour sweats, and those are fine. These are potentially 96-hour sweats when it comes to outrights and head-to-head matchups and top 20s and things of that nature. So I'm really excited because this is prime golf season. We've got the API, we've got the Players coming up, we've got the Masters coming up, and then all the majors that fall in line after that. It's a really exciting time to be a part of golf.
And just to, I guess, tout myself, I will be on the call next week for the Players Championship. And the event after that, I'll be doing the Valspar as well. PGA Tour Live, ESPN, ESPN Plus. Tune in, and we'll have all the coverage top to bottom. That's what we do. That's what we do. Now, by the way, 44 of the top 50 ranked players in the world playing this week. The last time that happened, last July, the Open Championship. That's how good this field is this week. It's big time. Big time. Now, speaking of big time, Alex, I'm coming to you. Because last night, it wasn't at home. Because we've been catching these at home game after game after game. It was in Houston. But what a milestone for the 2-time reigning, defending, undisputed MVP. I knew you'd like that. What do you got?
Coach, really impressive stuff. Nikola Jokic recorded his 100th career triple-double just last night, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. He did that in a 133-112 win over the Rockets, Coach. Did it in just 28 minutes, became the 6th player in NBA history to record his 100th career triple-double. That is at playing center. That is unbelievable to me. He also joins potentially Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook as potentially the only 2 players in NBA history to average a triple-double over the course of the season, which Jokic is currently doing. Just super, super impressive stuff. Also, Russ holds an interesting record, the most triple-doubles in a season, 42. Jokic has 24 with 19 games left. He would need to have a triple-double every single game. Not impossible for him, but unlikely. Also, he's a minus 350 favorite, Coach, right now to win his 3rd consecutive MVP, something that LeBron James hasn't done, something that the great Michael Jordan didn't do, Kobe Bryant, only Larry Bird, last player to do it, and then Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell were the only 3 players to ever win 3 consecutive MVP awards. Obviously, when Chamberlain and Russell played, there was like 12 teams in the league. So unbelievable historical production from Nikola Jokic. Just so impressed with this guy.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, though, isn't it? Because now when you win this many MVPs, but you don't win an NBA championship, people are going to start to question your greatness. And I've started to hear that on some of these different shows now. 3-time MVP, no rings. Interesting. All right. Now, you guys know we're changing the show, but we're always busy. We're always thinking. And we have a busy week still on deck. In fact, on Thursday, how about this? 2 specialty shows. UFC 285, the return of one John Jones, who, in my opinion, is the greatest MMA fighter of all time. He's going up to heavyweight. He's in the main event. Can't wait for that. Then, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, the World Baseball Classic, a live preview show. We've got a new capper starting on both of those shows. You want to tune in live to find out who they are, how good they are, and the WBC this year, it's for real. All the stars are playing. Shohei, Trout, all of them playing in the WBC. All right, so we got a new little segment that we like to call Marquee Matchups, where it's not about the picks, it's about discussing so you guys can have the information at home for the biggest games of the day. And we're going to start in the NBA. That's right, the Cavaliers, they've been red hot lately. They're traveling to Boston to take on the Celtics, who absolutely had a dud at Madison Square Garden. Jason Tatum got thrown out with 2 technicals at that game and absolutely played horrible. But Sia, let's start with you. The line is 5. The total is 219.5. How are you approaching this game?
Yeah, this one I don't have a bet on necessarily, but I just like both of these teams quite a bit. I think the Boston Celtics are likely to emerge from the East, but I also think the Cleveland Cavaliers are kind of getting unnoticed, not necessarily by people like ourselves or people watching this show, but I don't think people really realize how good the Cavaliers are, how young they are, and how much they can just put up points and put up trouble for teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, like the Sixers, like the Celtics, who are perceived to be better than them. I think the Cavaliers are the 3rd best team in the East, and I think they're on a very nice upward trajectory, not just for this season, but for seasons to come.
And it does seem, Mikey, doesn't it, that the Cavs, with their recent success, have started to play a little bit faster than they did earlier in the season. What's your take?
Yeah, this one is super, super interesting here. There are only 4 teams in the NBA that actually rank inside the top 10 in offensive rating and defensive rating. These are 2 of those 4 teams. All 4 of those teams actually are in the Eastern Conference, though. This one's fascinating. I make the line -3.5 for the Celtics, so I have a little bit of a lean on Cleveland at this point, basically saying I think this is going to be a 1-possession basketball game, definitely not a 3-possession win, which is essentially what it's approaching, depending on where the line moves today. As far as the total, I make the number 221.5. It's a little bit of a lean, not enough for me to want to go play the over at this point in the day, but certainly will be interesting to see because, Cleveland plays with one of the slowest paces in the NBA. You've got a lot of great defense on the floor, but a lot of guys that can score the basketball really well. I expect a very tight, tense atmosphere, more like a playoff game. It's going to be fun to watch for sure.
You're damn right it is. I can't wait for that either. So many people in the chat are throwing out names of potential opportunities tonight in this game. Alex, I'm coming to you. What do you got?
Yeah, I love this matchup, as both these gentlemen just alluded to. Potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup, 2 of the best teams in the East. Obviously, we know about Boston, the Cavs emerging. One player I definitely wanted to highlight, whether it be props or just talking about the success of the Cavs, is Evan Mobley. I have been so impressed with his sophomore campaign. Obviously, the tremendous rookie season, but then especially over the last month of the season, he is averaging nearly a double-double in February, over 19 points, 9 rebounds. He plays elite defense on both ends as well. To me, if he continues to develop at this pace, he is one of the best players in the NBA already, in my opinion. And if he continues to develop, that makes the Cavs that much tougher of an out with the excellent guards, with Garland, with Donovan Mitchell. So I love this matchup. Can't wait to see it. And I definitely think Evan Mobley will make a big impact tonight.
Educate and entertain. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. It's not always just about the picks. Use all 3 of those things and make decisions for yourself. Now, let's move to a big one on the pitch today. The English Premier League. And Buckets, I'm looking squarely at you. It's Arsenal, the Guru's favorite team, taking on Everton. Now, tell me why we should care and how you're approaching this big-time matchup midweek.
This is a very difficult matchup from a betting perspective, so be careful here. You have a top-of-the-table Arsenal side taking on a team that is currently 18th in the Premier League, fighting in a relegation battle. Arsenal will be desperate for a win here to stay above Manchester City, as they currently have a game in hand as well. So they need to be getting points where they can. Meanwhile, Everton is desperate, honestly, just for anything at this point. They just need points. They need to stay above those top 3 spots at the bottom of the table here and find some results. These 2 played in the reverse fixture last month in a game where Everton's new manager, Sia Nejad, helped the team beat Arsenal and hand them only one of their 3rd losses of the season. And Everton were a plus 1,200 underdog in that game. So Arsenal are coming for revenge here for that embarrassment and want a resounding win. Meanwhile, Everton is going to play for a 0-0 draw. A draw is an incredible outcome for Everton in this matchup. So if you like goals, I would be very careful here because Sia Nejad is kind of a defensive specialist. Every single game that he has coached Everton since he arrived earlier this year has hit BTTS no and under 2.5 goals. 1-0, 1-0, 2-0, 2-0. It's how he plays. They're going to play 6 or 7 people back and grind this game to a halt. So be very careful. It might not be the most exciting game, but I do think that the Guru's Arsenal will barely pull out a win in this one.
Yeah, and right now, as I'm looking at the numbers, incredible take by you. Way to break that down. Well done, Buckets. Right now, the draw is at plus 430. Arsenal is laying a goal and a half, minus 109. Yesterday, you hit Blackburn plus 1.5. Would that be a dicey play in your opinion?
It'd be close. I see this game ending 1-0 or 2-0 for Arsenal, so I don't mind playing that. This might be the kind of game where you look for a live look. If you see Everton start to crumble or start getting a lot of cards early when they get frustrated, it might be something you want to jump on Arsenal goals after you see that first 15 minutes in this game.
Look who's been listening to Mikey the last few months. How about that? Paying attention to our resident genius. How about that, Buckets? All right, game number 3 of our marquee matchup. We're going to college basketball. And 2 of my guys are very, very interested in this game. Xavier, they've been playing fast all year. However, lately, they've turned into an under team. Providence, well, they've been pretty good all year. This is a great matchup. 2 top 25 teams. Mikey, let's start with you. What are you leaning into?
Yeah, this game is fascinating. My play is actually going to be in this one. We'll get to that in a little bit. But look, I love these Big East matchups. You've got teams where the defensive units are worse than the offensive units, but they're all still very good. They're legitimate top 20 teams, legitimate top 20 offenses here. The thing that's most interesting about both of these teams is they're both very, very good at generating second chance opportunities, ranking 10th and 11th in college basketball. Providence here, they get to the free throw line incredibly well. One of the best teams in the country at doing it. I think this game's going to be ultra competitive. The last one went to overtime. I think this one is incredibly live to go to overtime as well. It's going to be a really, really fun basketball game.
It really is. And this is one of those, I like how they do it in the Big East and Fox, where they'll start a game at 6:30, which is 30 minutes earlier, and kind of they have their own 30 minutes. I think it's really, really smart. Now, see, we have a high total here. 153.5. And like Mikey told us yesterday, and he was dead on. That Iowa-Indiana just got to 160. He said everything has to go right when you have this big of a total. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pace is going to be high. We've seen that from these games. But I love what Mikey said about second chance points and getting to the free throw line. I think that's really going to help this total maybe go to the over, and we'll see what Mikey's pick is ultimately. I have a pick against the spread in this game, and it really has a lot to do with getting to the free throw line and with some of the home court stuff that we've seen from Providence. So I'm looking forward to getting to it.
Oh, me too. And we have 2 picks from that game coming up. Thank you guys for breaking down our marquee matchups of the day. All right, let's get to our board, and we have a full board today, and I'm ready for 2 fantastic days from the brand. And Alex, since you haven't been on in a couple of days, I would love, as I look at my notes, to have 2 props to start the show. Can you do that for me?
I'm your guy, Coach. 2 props indeed. Starting with that Cavalier and Boston matchup, we're going Marcus Smart over 7.5 combined rebounds and assists. This is just too low of a number for Smart. He's averaging a combined 9.3 rebounds and assists this season. Smart is still finding his legs a little bit after returning to the Celtics lineup. He missed close to a month because of an ankle sprain. However, he's coming off his best game since returning a couple nights ago versus the Knicks. Looked really good in that matchup. I also like the fact that this game is at home, where Smart is averaging an additional 1.1 assists. Definitely helps to have the scorers table be friendly to you like it would be in Boston for Marcus Smart. So love him over 7.5 rebounds and assists. Next up, we're going to Miami, where the Sixers will take on the Heat, rematch of a game just 2 nights ago. I'm going Bam Adebayo over combined 10.5 rebounds and assists. Just another good number for Bam here. He's averaging a combined 13 rebounds and assists this season. This is a pretty big discount because Bam has had 3 consecutive games that he's been fairly quiet in since returning from the All-Star break. But I love the way that Bam is deployed. It gets a lot of minutes against the team's opposing second unit, where the offense runs through him quite a bit. So I just think this number is too low. It's too low to pass up on. I love Bam in this spot to break out of a little bit of a 3-game slump here. Both these sites I want to add have also been posted to the SportsLine app and site already. So if you are a member at SportsLine, you can turn my notifications on, and you have already had access to both of these picks, Coach.
It is so cool. As we go right now, I'll show you right now on my phone. You go right into the Philadelphia game. You hit the pick. Oh, look who's right there. It is Alex. I'm sure you can't read it, but NBA props are live at SportsLine now. It's an amazing addition. It took us a little while. You guys were patient, but you can get them right there. One little price, $10 a month. That's it. That's it. We don't gouge you. We want you. We don't gouge you. All right, now, buckets. I'm looking at a name on my piece of paper right here. My rundown is what I like to call it. And they are a team that for more than a year, I feel like has been really good, and they've been really good at cashing us tickets. You're up, sir.
Coach, you are, of course, talking about Feyenoord in the Netherlands Eredivisie. This is a team that flies a little bit under the radar here, but they are one of the best attacking teams in all of soccer. It is truly tremendous to watch this team play. I'm looking at their KNVB Becher Cup matchup against Heerenveen this afternoon, and we're taking a bit of a interesting angle here. You might have heard of Feyenoord recently because they recently broke some records in the last round of this cup against their rivals NEC, in which Feyenoord had 50 shots in a single game with 27 shots on target. That game ended 4-4, but everyone knows who Feyenoord is now because this is a team that does not take their foot off the gas. They do not slow down, and they're the type of team that if they're only up 2 goals at halftime, their coach is throwing chairs around the locker room. He's yelling at them. He's freaking out. This is a team that has to find goals because it's their identity at this point. I was looking at them, and currently the money line is sitting at -200, which is a bit too juicy for me. But if you same game parlay that with over 1.5 goals in this game, it brings it all the way down to -115. This might even be the kind of game where you want to ladder goals a little bit here because Feyenoord has just been that good. And one last little tidbit for you. Feyenoord has not lost a game in their last 20 matches across all competitions. They care about league play, they care about cup play, and they are here to show up this afternoon.
Real quick, we have a lot of new people watching the show, a lot of people that may not know soccer betting. What does laddering goals mean quickly?
If you think, like I do, that there's going to be more than 2 goals in this game, you could take Feyenoord money line plus over 2.5 goals or 3.5 goals or 4.5 goals. Don't put too much money on those, but definitely worth a sprinkle for a team like this.
And most books will have it. You just got to scroll down. They're usually at the bottom, but it'll say Feyenoord to win, and that's where you find these bets.
Yes, there'll be like pre-made options on most books.
Fantastic. Buckets, thank you very much. All right, now, Chris in the chat said, I would pay a monthly fee to watch a DFS golf show with Mikey and Sia. What do you guys do on Mondays? I just had a question. What do you guys do on Mondays? Do you do a DFS show on Mondays? No?
Well, I do with on the first cut.
Oh, okay. I was confused, but you do a DFS show. And Mikey, you do DFS at SportsLine, correct?
Yes, a ton. Yeah. Yeah. Just no golf show from me personally. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would pay for that too. But Chris, I can tell you this, that sometimes, most of the time, Mikey is in the chat when we tape Early Edge. We have you covered in the chat and on the show. We like to come at you from both angles. So, but thank you very much. I would watch that show too. Now, speaking of the API, last year, 10. That's it. 10 golfers broke par. That's it. Only 12 were even par or better. This is a very difficult golf course. It's a very difficult golf tournament. And see, I'm ready for it. Talk to me.
Yeah, I've got a pick here and in college basketball as well. Let's go with Ricky Fowler -130 over Aaron Wise. Now, this is a matchup you can find on DraftKings. And just to be clear, it is a full 72-hole matchup. In other words, all 4 rounds. This one is, I don't want to say it's a layup, but this is definitely my favorite matchup of the week. Again, a very tough test, and Aaron Wise in particular hasn't been very good as of late. I feel like his reputation is preceding him, and that reputation isn't completely legit at this point because he's been a little back and forth lately. Ricky Fowler, on the other hand, has been excellent. The ball striking numbers have been great. The weighted tee to green numbers have been great. He's also had really good experience at the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. The last 2 times out, he hasn't been very good in terms of the finishing positions. But what we see when we look a little deeper is actually the ball striking was very good over the last 2 years, which is interesting because he hadn't really been good the last 2 years. It hasn't been the same Ricky Fowler. But I should point out, again, at Bay Hill, the ball striking has been really good. It was the putter that failed him. Now, if you're worried about the putter this time, I should note that he's gained putting in 6 out of the last 8 measured events, really 7 of 9 because the Zozo wasn't a measured event. So the putter is back on track. The ball striking is typically always good at Bay Hill, and he's coming in with great form across all metrics. So give me Ricky Fowler -130 over Aaron Wise.
And you have a basketball pick. Did you give the basketball one already too?
No, I didn't. Oh,
feel free.
Yeah, we're going to do, we've got that Big East battle that we talked about, right? We got Providence and Xavier. I like Providence in this one. These, like Mikey said, these teams play each other really, really tough. And -3.5 is a lot. And I will concede a lot of the public money is on Providence, but I think they get it done at home. And part of the reason for that is they're 15-0 at home this year. They haven't lost at home since last season. They're 10-5 against the spread at home. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games at home. And I think what Mikey said in particular, I think is really important when it comes to the free throw line and the second chance points. Both these teams get those, but it's really Providence that leans on the free throws more than anybody, and they knock them down. And I think late in the game, when this game is still close, which I expect it to be, I think Providence ends up pulling away because of those second chance points and because of those free throws that they're going to get, particularly at home. So I like Providence here, -3.5.
And there are some people out there crazy. And the money line is -167. If you don't want to worry about the points, you can play it at -167 if the juice is worth the squeeze for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is rare. I just thought it'd be cool today. Usually Mikey goes first or he sets the tone, but he never gets to sit in the maestro seat. I thought it might be kind of nice today. So M Squared, if you don't mind, what do you got tonight?
I'm going to stick in that same Big East battle here. Xavier and Providence love this game here. We're going to go over the total, over 154.5. You can find 153.5 in the market as well. It's bouncing between those two numbers. I will say there are a lot of strong opinions on both sides of this game. Typically, when you look at a game, I'll get into calculating hold percentage a lot later this summer, potentially. But when you look at the hold, we like to look at what we call a synthetic hold, where we look across the market. When you see different prices across the market, that synthetic hold is down to about 1% on this game versus 4%, which is the hold the sportsbook normally tries to take on a game. It tells you there's a lot of uncertainty. No one's very strong. There's a lot of uncertainty in this particular market, which is the total on this game. So I'm going over here because the defensive units are worse than the offensive units. I said this earlier in the preview. These are legitimate top 20 offenses here. But one thing that they do incredibly well is they generate second chance opportunities. Two of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. When you've got teams that can offensive rebound on both ends and not just one end, that's what leads to additional fouls being called in the game. That's where a lot of additional points come from. I expect both teams to be able to get to the free throw line, but it's really Providence who leads the way in terms of getting to the free throw line. That is one thing that they excel at, a legitimate top 10 team at getting to the line. The reason why we like it and why we look to the over in this situation, when the home team, the one that has the crowd influencing the officials, is the one that's good at getting to the free throw line, that means they're likely to be neutral or ahead. We want the team that is comfortable playing with pace, also playing from behind. That's Xavier. That definitely creates additional possessions in this basketball game. I like this one a lot. One final nugget for those that like trends. You know, I don't really care too much about them. Some of you love them. Xavier, when you've seen a total this high from them, this is a very high total. When you've seen totals this high from them this season, they are 15-9 to the over when the total's been 151.5 to 157.
Antonio in the chat said what we all are thinking. Mike reminds us that you're just human, or that we're just human every single day. I'm telling you, I tell you all the time, knowledge is power. Do you want to do that work? Can you even do that work? That's why we come together and we do this together. We all have our strengths. Everybody. Amazing, amazing, amazing Chick-fil-A nuggets on Xavier and Providence from you guys today. All right. Grab your paper. Grab your pencil. Here is the recap. And remember, we have more best bets in the afternoon. Early edge in 5 at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. Sia Nejad, the counselor. He's on Providence -3.5. Then Ricky Fowler over Aaron Wise. And to recap, Sia, real quick, that's a tournament matchup, correct? Not round one?
That is a tournament matchup, correct.
Thank you very much. Then M Squared's also on that Providence game. We're going to the over 154.5. You heard the number. 15-9. 15-9. Propstarz, Bam Adebayo over 10.5 rebounds and assists -115. Marcus Smart over 7.5 rebounds and assists -150. You're going to be seeing a lot more Propstarz on SportsLine and here on the early edge, and I'm here for it. Then one play from Buckets, bettor, money line, and the over 1.5, and you'll probably see over 2.5, over 3.5. He says maybe sprinkle just a little bit. Just sprinkle just a little bit, and you might be happy at the end of the day. Everybody, stay active on social media. We're here 24/7. And with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, Lobo, M Squared, Counselor, Buckets, my man Propstarz, Snake always behind the scenes. I am the coach. Tell all your friends you want to be included. You want to learn a whole heck of a lot, and you want to have some fun? There's only one place. We grind for you so we can win with you right here at the Early Edge. Good luck.